Everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Just Noise podcast. Once again, I'm here with my partner in crime, Logan Purdue. Logan, what's up, my dude? How we doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Can't complain, buddy. So today we are joined with a dear friend of mine that I've known for years. I've had the honor to track with him in various projects. He's a multi-instrumentalist and a vocalist. Anything you name, he can do it. He's a real American who fights for the rights of every man. Please welcome our guest and his magnificent man stash.
God damn it, autosave.
Ben BREX Monroe.
That's a wonderful introduction. You are always welcome in my house.
Oh, Ben, thanks for joining us, buddy. This is going to be fun.
No, Brandon, when did I start saying you're always welcome in my house? Like, I've been telling you that for like 10 years now through multiple homes.
I want to say I feel like you told me that before, even the house on Spring, but yeah.
I don't know. We met through recording. And I was just like, I like this guy, and then that's just what came out of my mouth. I'm like, you are always welcome in my house, and you're like, I mean, thanks. Well, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to get into it. Hopefully, knock on wood. No, yeah, we had some technical difficulties getting this one started. My old computer, she doesn't like the internet anymore. She's an old tired gal that just can't really do it.
That happens. They wear out over time, right?
I think mine's fucked up from years of trying to get video editing software for free, but not through pirating. Like, there's various video editing software out there that is kind of free, but it might destroy your computer. At least that's my theory as to why. Also, it's 13 years old, and, you know, I'm the kind of guy, I replace it when it breaks. I've been driving the same car for almost 11 years now. I'm just like, I'll just put
It still
$500
goes.
of tires and brakes into it. Why not? Why wouldn't I put that towards a new vehicle? It's gotten me this far, but yeah, we're not here to talk about cars. We're here to talk about I don't know what.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, let's dive into it. Wanted to start out just kind of like early life, I guess. Like what started you in music? Like what got you going, and then led you to getting into bands and stuff. And yeah.
I was raised in the Polish country by a group of sheep herders. No. So early life, I always grew up around music. I come from a very musical background. My dad is very well known in the Des Moines blues music scene, and he played drums at a place called Blues on Grand that later became the Gas Lamp. He did every Friday for I think like 11 years, and growing up, it was so common for the phone to ring and just somebody be like, "Hey, Mark, we need a drummer on this date. Can you fill in?" He's like, "Sure." They'd hang up, and he's like, "Got a gig." And coming from the metal world, where you need to know the material, you need to know where the hits, you need to know the fucking notes. Like just imagine you just calling me and be like, "Hey Ben, we need a drummer this Friday. Can you fill in?" I'm like, no, I can't. The amount of times that I have seen him do that is just incredible to me. So I always grew up around that, and you know, I've never seen an instrument that my dad can't pick up and at least noodle something on. Like, he knows how to do some stuff on an accordion. Like,
That's cool.
bagpipes. I've never seen him with bagpipes in hand. That might be the one that would get him. But yeah, the laying around the house, like my dad's got. You name the instrument, he's probably got it somewhere. But yeah, so
Very cool. I didn't know that about you.
if you've ever been into Riemann's music, you've probably seen my dad. We don't look alike. He's like 5'7", and which is not what I am. and he doesn't have hair, which I do. At one point in time, he did have a mustache, so we got that in common.
What does he do at Reman's?
He worked at the like rental desk for a while, but he also works the front desk now. And growing up, having a close connection to a music store that's not only like there's been various times where I've gotten this deal or that deal, nothing too crazy, but just being close to the community of that has definitely been helpful. Like I remember when I first started playing bass, like I was so kind of obsessed with it. Like there were days where I just went and hung out in Reman's for like 2 hours and just played every bass, and like all I really knew how to play was like one riff by Nirvana and like a riff from Godsmack or something like that. But I was just having the time of my life, and yeah. Also, having a close connection to the guitar tech at Reman's, Nate Carlson. Shout out Nate. God bless you. He is the best guitar tech in the all of Des Moines, and yeah, and I think I got Josh turned on to him as well. Like Josh had been setting up his own guitars for years. I'm like, dude, take it to Nate at Raymond's. He will whatever's going on with it, he will fix it. He took it there once. He's like, dude, it's never played this well. Just volume at 10, like Josh. How you do.
Shout out Josh. Well, cool, dude. I love to hear that. That's really cool that you had that genuine connection with your local store, and it was just through your dad, even too. That's really cool. So, what moved forward for you? And you said that you had the passion there. You wanted to play some bass. Where did Swallow the Glass start? How did you get that band going?
I'm gonna back it up a little
Yeah, yeah.
more in the first place. So I actually didn't even really have that much like passion to play instruments, or like even though I grew up around it, like it was never something that like my parents pushed on me or anything. Until I met Cheney mentioned this in her episode, but I met Stephen Banks and Ryan Hobson. Stephen, most famously played with Swallow the Glass and Submerged. They were my brother's friends. Like the first time I met Ryan, he had like a foot long purple mohawk, and I was like 9 or 10. I was like, "Oh my god, he's the coolest person I've ever met." And
That's awesome.
they both play guitar and were really big into metal. So I was like, "Metal is the coolest thing ever." Lamb of God and Slipknot. Whoa. And they were always playing guitar. And then my dad ended up with a bass guitar, which, hey, I actually got it right here. My first ever instrument, this bass that he got from a pawn shop that was covered in newspaper and eventually covered in stickers. And
That's cool that you
that's,
have that
uh,
still.
yeah. And
That's the mullet hawk bass, right?
no, that's an Alvarez. I've never seen an Alvarez bass before. Alvarez primarily makes acoustic guitars, I think. But yeah, so that came into the house, and I looked at that. And I'm like, 4 strings seem a lot simpler than 6 strings, and so I picked that up, and I don't know, I just fell in love with the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so then catching up with Swallow the Glass. So Stephen Banks basically lived at my parents' house throughout high school, and actually for a little bit there, he literally did live there. His mail started showing up. I don't. Yeah. He never asked my parents about that. It just kind of started happening.
Slowly moved
um,
in.
yeah, it was a silent invasion of one man. And he'd been playing with Sam Tallarico, and I think they had someone that was playing bass for them that they parted ways for some reason, and then they uh, proposed it to me, and then I ended up joining, and yeah, I was in that for many years, and it was a good introduction to playing music because the material. Listen back through it's actually pretty solid. But fairly simple. And then as my years have gone by, I've joined more and more and more complicated bands.
I thought
And
it's very unique. It's got a really cool emo style to it, and it's really cool. I enjoyed it.
yeah, yeah. Listening through the songs, and knowing Steven, I'm like, that's when he was listening to that band. That's when he was listening to that band.
mhm.
And a lot of the used in the early stuff, and
I heard
then
some Atreyu in there too.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, moving on to early metalcore like Killswitch Engage and Parkway Drive and this that and the other thing. Yeah, actually, Swallow the Glass is responsible for one of my coolest musical achievements. So my first day of high school, I actually performed on the lawn of Roosevelt High, and there was someone from the Des Moines Register there that got a picture of me mid headbang. So, and I had a like foot long mohawk at the time, and so there's just a picture of just skinny ass Ben wearing a Lamb of God shirt with fucking hair straight up like that. And
Future Brandon's editing the picture of the mullet hawk in right here.
hell
It's
yeah,
gonna be there.
mullet hawk. Oh shit,
That's yeah. See,
it was
that's
never. Yeah, when you said that earlier, I was like, mullet hawk. What the fuck? It was never truly a mullet for some reason. I didn't have it go all the way down there.
it was sick,
I don't know.
bro.
I also never successfully spiked it up, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a mohawk in the first place. I just had long hair as far as everyone knew. We've all been long hairs at some point. Come on,
Oh, yeah.
we're
Yep.
metal kids. Yeah, the fucking greasy ass long hair.
So,
Yeah.
okay. How long did you guys do Swallow the Glass for? And also, before we move on, what was the name of the vocalist?
Irwin. Gun to my head, I had to tell you what he's been up to anymore, I'd be dead. I have absolutely no idea. I'd probably I think I'd recognize him if I saw him on the street. Lord knows it's been 15 years. But if he was still wearing the exact same beanie that he wore throughout the entirety of that band, then I'd probably recognize him. Um, I think he might be related to Brian. I'm blanking on his last name. Logan. Brian
Gates?
Gates.
Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he might be related to Brian Gates. So I mean, I hope he's doing well. Just once that band departed, just lost touch, and that was before the days of Facebook or anything. I think MySpace was even still pretty young back then. Um, but yeah, Swallow the Glass was eventually changed their name to something close to Hero, which was, in my opinion, an equally not that great name. Um, but yeah, Swallow the Glass into something close to Hero, and then our drummer bought like 100 shirts with a something close to Hero design, and then we broke up like a week later. So within the last 5 years, he like messaged me. He's like, "Hey, do you want one of these? These have been sitting around for a long time." I'm like, nah, man. It would make good muffling to be stuffed inside a kick drum.
There you go. So, okay, moving forward from that. So, I was a little curious because what point did you start playing drums? I know that you said your dad's always been a drummer, but
Yeah. So here's the thing that I realized. When you play bass, people don't listen to what you have to say. So then I decided to start playing drums. And then eventually I realized that when you play drums, people also don't listen to what you have to say. And then I started playing guitar, and then I realized that people just have trouble listening, or I need to speak up more or something.
or
But
something like that.
no, so the drumming came from, I think, a whole lot of ADHD. And like once again, my relationship with like Steven and Ryan, they were always like super obsessed with like double kick and stuff. They're like, double kick drum is the coolest thing ever.
Go fast.
And so I was always just sitting there just like, yeah, I was always just sitting there in class just doing that. And like slowly I kind of taught myself like how to have, 1 2 ba, 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 just have your right and left as well as feet operates, both in unison but also separately from each other. I kind of taught myself how to do that before I ever sat down behind a drum kit, by just like jamming on like desks at school as opposed to listening. Who the fuck wants to do that?
Right.
Then like by the time I think Ryan got a drum kit because he was kind of interested in learning drums, and then as soon as he got it, I was like, "Can I play? Can I play? Can I play? Can I play?" And I jumped behind it, and it was a whole lot of anticipation that I've been wanting to get behind a drum kit for like quite some time. If I remember right, there there was a time period where I kept my dad had like three different drum kits, and so I would steal like a kick drum from another one and make the shittiest like double kick setup between like a 20-inch Gretsch jazz kick drum and then a like rock kick drum, and it sounded god awful, but I was like, yippee!
I got double bass.
And yeah, and then my dad was like, "Hey, it's okay if you do that. Put it back afterwards." And I think I never did. So, yeah, eventually my dad got me my own drum kit, and then I just took off with that. But man, back in high school, I owe a lot of my musical talent to just being like young, awkward, and not knowing how to talk to people, and just being obsessed with the instruments. So if there's anyone young out there listening, just like, dude, forego pursuit of women or anything cool. Just nerd out on like instruments for like 3 to 4 years. It'll take you. It'll take you far.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Life advice. But there you go.
Knowing is
Shake
half
up.
the battle.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. There were some days where I was playing drums like 3 hours a day and shit, and just was obsessed with it. I had some shooter headphones, it kind of the like big old Vic Firth ones that you got. So you can make your own ones of those by just getting a pair of like shooter muffs and then those old style like over the head headphones and then breaking them off and shoving them in there. And that's what my dad had. My dad never used it to play to music. My dad used that so he could play drums while watching football. But it works perfectly fine connected to an iPod.
That's awesome.
Innovator.
Yeah, yep. And yeah. So started playing drums, and then a couple friends of mine that my parents' house was always the place where all of my friends were, whether me or my brother or fuck, even my parents were there or not. Like I can't tell you the amount of times in high school where I came home to like there'd be like 7 people there. I'm like, where the fuck did? Oh, all right, we're hanging out. But me and a couple of them, a couple of repeat offenders, Ryan and Steven, um, eventually started a band that once again went by two names because we couldn't decide on them. Where I played drums. The original name was For My Dying Eyes, which I always fucking hated that name because we were all really big For the Fallen Dreams fans. And I'm like, guys, it's too close. But once again, when you play drums, no one listens to you. So, um, and then eventually changed the name to At the Center of Serenity. And I sent you those recordings I dug up the other day. And
Dude, that was some good shit. Me and Logan talked about how we really enjoyed it. It was good, man. So
yeah,
that was you on drums, and that was Ryan, and did Ryan do vocals in that one?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, the recordings I sent you was after I'd gotten my whole recording setups. Anyone who gets new in recording and does any sort of like superior drummer or digital drums, knows that you just max the velocity to just 100% on all
127.
of it. Yeah, 127 just
Yep.
across the board, just a flat line. And it's like, yeah, I can play that. And it's like, motherfucker, no, you can't.
So
But
was that when you started actually tracking? I meant to ask you that too. When did you forego actually your journey into being an audio engineer?
yeah, so that one got a little bit of an interesting start as well. So I was thinking about that one. This is going to be a kind of roundabout way of getting there, but trust me, we'll get there. Like I've said, a lot of ADD. So there was this one program that me and Steven were in when I was a freshman and he was a senior in high school, and it was called Blues in the Schools. To this day, one of my favorite experiences of my whole life. For a week straight, we went down to Central Campus, and a guy named D'Artagnan Brown, who was in the Iowa Jazz Hall of Fame, or actually it might just be the overall Jazz Hall of Fame. He just like we were there for like 8 hours a day, ate lunch, and we just spent a week where we just wrote like 7 songs and just like blues songs. And uh, he would ask us a bunch of questions like what gets you upset, or like what annoys you and stuff. And we're all teenagers. We're like, I don't know, man. I like cars. I've been playing a lot of Need for Speed Most Wanted. Lamborghinis are cool. And he's like, I can work with that. And somehow made a song out of the whole thing. And there are 2 other individuals that were there. A guy named Kevin B.F. Burt, most soulful man I've ever met in my life. I love that guy. And a guy named Max G. That at the end of the whole experience, we ended up performing at the Des Moines Arts Festival, on like the huge stage that they have there, and there was like probably like 1,000 people there. So, and to this day, probably the biggest show I've ever played. And so, yeah, after that, it was just an amazing experience, and I wanted to have something else like that. And Max G had something else going on afterwards. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to keep this train rolling. And it was some program that to this day I could not tell you what the fuck the goal of it was or what was going on. I remember there was a thing that he wanted us to do where like there was some girl who was really good at singing, and I think he was going to try to make her into some sort of pop star. And he wanted us to stand there and pretend to be playing instruments and just like rock back and forth. And uh, I have no idea what it was, but part of that day involved me sitting in a computer lab with a whole bunch of other people that it really just seemed like daycare. It seemed like daycare with computers. I was easily the oldest person there. Most people were like 8 years old, and I was just like
Wow.
16. Like, but on said computer,
I'm here.
there was FL Studio, Fruity Loops, and I pulled that up and was like, "What in the world?" And started point and clicking and started making little beats. And then I'm like, "Oh, I can bring in like a bass program here," and then started programming that. And after that whole experience, I went home and I could not stop thinking about FL Studio because like the whole thing of like I had all these ideas when I was playing drums, but I would try to explain them to people because I also played bass. I'm like, no, do this, do this, and it just never like
Translated.
translated well. And meanwhile, there was this program that I'd been introduced to where I had all of that at my fingertips, and I like wouldn't shut up about it to my parents until the mom just gave my dad a look like, we have to get him this, right? And my dad just handed her a credit card, which FL Studio is the single most affordable like audio workstation there is, aside from Reaper, which is 100% free. But fuck off. I like FL Studio, man. I owe a lot to that damn program. But yeah, and then after that, I sent you all of the all of the early BREX songs that I found on there, which is a trip. And man, a lot of those are trash.
I haven't gotten through all of them, and you told me not. You told me to avoid some of them.
Yeah,
I went through and listened to a lot of those files. There were some of them
yeah,
I was like, what is going on here? Like it wasn't what I expected at all because I've listened to your solo album that you have out, and so it wasn't. I was like, is this the same thing? Like I went back the first time and made sure that I was like in the right like file on Dropbox.
yeah. So it sounds like Angry Video Games because that's the MIDI guitar that I had access to, and I will say it is a little cool for and nostalgic for me to go through it. These files will never end up on the internet publicly, but maybe one or two of them might. But like going to some of the early ones, I'm like, okay, I can tell that that was me just sitting there pointing and clicking. Like, all right, so like, yeah, oh, this would be cool. Oh, this would be cool. I'll learn that later. But then like in the middle of it, there would be like one part that I'm like, okay, I wrote that on an actual instrument. That has the feeling of somebody that actually had an instrument in their hands. And it's like, oh, dude, that's like my first metalcore riff ever. Fuck yeah. And so much of it is stuff that is just like almost unplayable. But then eventually it did get into the point where I stopped just pointing and clicking throughout all of it. I think the first song that I wrote 100% like instruments only, I named "There's a First for Everything," um, which later became my song "King of the North," um, which first time that I'd ever actually had an instrument in my hand. So yeah, going through all those, and you can tell, which one was written because I couldn't come up with a name, so I just numbered them all. And yeah, going and pulling each one up, it's like, oh, that became that song, that became that song, that became that song. So yeah, that was kind of my introduction to the whole recording or engineering world in general. And you know, the entire time, every time I had all these ideas and I wanted to show people, they would take a listen. They're like, "Yeah, it just sounds like video games, man. It just sounds like pissed off Super Mario. I can't do it." And so I always wanted to get involved in recording, and um, eventually I got a tube amp and an interface and monitors, and I plugged that tube amp directly into the interface, which I
Shit.
don't know if you've ever done
Yeah.
that, but it creates a hellish noise that I was like,
Yeah.
it's better than Angry Super Mario. And did that for a little bit, and then actually tried messing around with miking guitar cab. And then, eventually I kind of outgrew doing all that stuff in my bedroom and ended up getting a space down at the old Jerry's where, yeah, the brick building. Some people call it the shithole.
I don't even remember what it was actually called, but yeah, it was something.
I don't either. It's called "You're Not Getting Your Deposit Back" is what it's fucking called.
It's called "You Haven't Paid Rent Again," featuring Jerry, even though we
No,
paid rent every time on
yeah,
time.
you haven't paid your rent, featuring Miles McClintock. If I remember right, Miles got behind on rent. He may have paid it. I'm not sure, but he eventually ended up like stealing Miles's kick drum and like locking it away in a room. I was like, dude, I have the key to that room. You want your drum back?
He's like the guy from Spider-Man. Rent.
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 Recently heard he passed away in 2016, actually. So that's
Rest in peace.
rest in peace.
Yep.
Yeah, so through owning a room there is how I got introduced to the one, the only Dustin Miller of Audio Aggregate Recordings. And yeah, so the way that all happened was I had a room on the third floor of that place, and he had a room on the first floor. And I was just like going down to pick his brain about something like I was having some technical problems, and he ended up being like, "Hey, the room on the other side of the wall for me just opened up. Uh, if you start renting that one, I will like teach you everything I know so that some loud band doesn't move in there so I can actually get work done. And I just gotten done like putting carpet into this room and like hanging up a bunch of lights. Dude, I put so much work into there. And then I'm like, son of a bitch, I will hate myself for the rest
Gotta
of my
do
life
it.
if I don't say yes to
Hmm.
this. And then I moved into the room on the other side of the wall from Dustin, and that is how me as an engineer actually began. And Dustin was a wonderful help and wonderful mentor, and just there's not enough time in the day to say as many good things as there are about that guy. Love that dude to death.
We love Dustin too, dude. He's cool. So you got a spot out there right next to Dustin. Was this before or after you were doing stuff with at the Center of Serenity?
I think at the Center of Serenity had broken up due to none of us having any money or drive to do anything but smoke weed. Um, um, yeah, I believe it was after that. Oh, going throughout the whole history of my musical career, I totally forgot that at one point me and Cheney were kind of in a band. It never had a name. She mentioned that in her episode. I don't even know if I could say that it even had songs. At least not as far as my part went. I just like did random things on the bass while everyone was making noise, and we're all like, "Yeah, that was pretty cool, wasn't it?" But yeah, I that just occurred to me. Couldn't leave Cheney out of the whole equation. Lord knows, yeah. I don't even know how old I was when I met Cheney. I've known her so goddamn long. But anyway, yeah, getting back to the right around I think 2012 is when I met Dustin and all that started happening.
Okay. So that's a little bit more in the future from like that stuff, right? What was the time frame you were doing at Center of Serenity?
2008 to 2009, I do believe. Yeah.
Did you guys ever play any shows?
Yeah. We played quite a few shows with Stand United and Let Lost Days Remain, and Hollowed Hysteria. We played quite a few shows with. The biggest one that we played was there was some Battle of the Bands at People's Court where there was like 15 different bands on it, and some early there's some early well-known bands like Mind Right was on that. Keep and Confess came and did a like reunion show there, and yeah, I can't remember any of the other ones, but that was the biggest one. And
I haven't heard that name in forever. Like a lot of those guys grew up like where I'm from,
Keep and
Keep and
Confess.
Confess. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah. I went to high
yeah.
school with a kid that's related to Alex Arthur.
Fox Arthur actually did some recordings for when I was in Prevail in the Hell of Gunfire. All right, so moving along throughout Ben's musical history. Um, so after At the Center of Serenity was done, which I can't remember exactly why that disbanded. Like I said, probably everyone just too high to give a shit. Um, I ended up. I think I was just sitting there on MySpace one day, and Cheney just messaged me like, "Hey, you still play bass, right?" I'm like, "Yep, yes I do." And she's like, Prevail in the Hail of Gunfire is getting back together and we need a bassist. I'm like, no shit. And Swallow the Glass played one show with Prevail in the Hail of Gunfire, and I remember it being just fucking blown away. And dude, if I remember right, I think it was literally only Swallow the Glass and Prevail in the Hail of Gunfire that played that show or were at that show. Literally nobody else was there. It was just us. I can't believe that vaudeville even fucking opened. But yeah, it left a very lasting impression. And this was back during the MySpace days, and I would listen to those songs all the time because they were just so fucking good. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second.
Chuck.
Yeah, so Cheney hit me up and was saying that Prevail the Hail of Gunfire needed a bassist, and then like sent me her drummer's information to like kind of go audition. And the video is still online of
Hmm.
me playing with Jason. So let me tell you a bit more about that day. Going into, I would always assume that people that were very talented at music had like gone to school for music theory and all this stuff. The more I played music, the more I realized most people do not know jack shit for music theory. And honestly, you only need it so much. But I met Jason, realized that, he's just a guy who's really, really talented at everything that he does. And he was playing drums out of a storage unit,
Unit 67.
Unit 67. And I show up, and he said that he had just written a song he just written a song. The drummer said that he had just written a song. How fucking weird is that in the first place? I've never heard of anybody writing a song drums
On drums
first.
first.
And he just proceeds to play the craziest shit I have ever heard. And it was like, all right, put something to that. I'm like, what?
Okay.
And a couple of hours later, the video that you saw is what the result was. And afterwards, he's like, "Yeah, you can join my band." And I'm like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" And throughout that, became a lifelong friendship with the Hashmans, and I owe so much of who I am as a musician to the Hashmans. Cheney also hailed their praise. Dude, I have firsthand witnessed them writing songs. I've seen how they do it. I don't know how the fuck they do it. Those two, something about being brothers in a band together historically just has really good results. You look at Van Halen, Pantera, Paramore, early Paramore. I'm sure there's a big list that I don't know of, but yeah, the Hashmans write gorgeous music that is very intricate and is so unique. And so that's how I ended up hooking up with them. And very shortly into that, Cheney parted ways with the band. I can't remember the exact reason. I don't think there's really any drama involved with it. Even if there was, fuck it, we're all older now. But then after that, we got Zach Wright, and Zach Beckman to be kind of dual vocalists, and they changed the name from Prevail in the Hail of Gunfire, which is a fucking sick name, to Conversations. Once again, name not a big fan of. I never liked that name. I never agreed to it, but how the fuck did I know? I was the bassist.
Yeah, dude. After we did our episode with Cheney, Justin messaged me and I chatted with him for a while. He's a really cool dude. He sent me a bunch of old school videos, and it, like you said, those two dudes are just phenomenal together. It blows my mind.
Love to see those old videos.
Yeah, hit him up, dude. I bet he'll send them to you. I don't know, man. It was so cool to watch because they had that early style down. They just could read each other's minds. It was kind of like a more melodic Veil of Maya at times, but also more chaotic. And I, I fucking love it. I love the full length with Cheney and then the Unit 67 stuff that you sent me. That shit is so good. So shout out to the Hashmans. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love the Hashman twins. Love them, love them, love them. I've never heard them put out music that has been anything less than extraordinary. Justin, well, not nearly as much as you should. Hey, Justin, if you're watching this, you and Jason need to put out more acoustic music on Instagram.
Colors was so good, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, so we recorded that EP with Alex Arthur up in Minneapolis, and that band, I think we were together from 20 not 2009 to like 2011. It said something like that. It wasn't a long run. We didn't play too many shows.
I was just gonna say like, what was going after that? I guess where did that lead you to? Where did you land after
Um
that?
um After that, I think I played one show with this one band called Awakened. So it was a really weird one. They're like pretty straightforward metal band. My dad received an email about, about gigs and stuff, and he received one from a friend of his saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a drummer. Not you, but I've got a I've got a friend who plays for a metal band that is in need of a drummer. Do you happen to know anybody?" He goes, "My son." And I met up with them, and yeah, so I ended up playing one show with them, and then after that, I thought I was going to be moving down to Texas to go to college. And I was like, "Hey guys, I gotta like pursue everybody in that band. I know I'm still Facebook friends with several of them. Rick something or other, Carl something or other. They were nothing but kind to me. They were wonderful guys. I think their other guitarist was named Mark. So if any of you guys are listening, hey, you guys were all awesome and that. But played one show with them, and then afterwards, I think I went bandless for a little bit until I happened to be down at the old practice warehouse, the brick one, and just heard some fucking amazing music going on upstairs, and I'm like, what is this? And I go and knock on the door, and sure enough, it's the Hashman twins, with Zach Wright on vocals and Philip Payton of Hookshot.
Yep.
Um, you should get him on here.
That'd be cool.
Uh, yeah, that'd be a good time. You should start having people nominate who needs to be on here next. You know what? I'm gonna start that right now. Philip Payton, I nominate you. But yeah, sure enough, open the door. I'm like, "Hey, I know everybody in here except for one. Where's your bassist?" They're like, "We don't have one." I'm like, "Yes, you do."
Damn.
And wait, no, fuck, that's not how that happened. They hit me up about playing drums with them originally, and I wasn't like the style that they were looking for. And so then Jason ended up playing drums, and then I fell off, and then I ran into them. Yeah, okay, and yeah, there was a whole time period there where I was just burnt out on playing bass. So I was like, dude, I don't want to fucking do this. I want to either play guitar or play drums. And so like the idea of playing bass was just like I fucking detested it for years there. But joining Taking Strides was one of the best things I have ever done. Some of my favorite musical experiences were spent with that band. Dude, to this day, did I send you the Taking Strides album?
Yep.
Okay, I sent you so much stuff. I don't remember what I did or didn't send you. Which I gotta send you more shit. I keep finding random stuff. Like I'm sure you saw my post on Facebook that I've got old and Airbag Save My Life
Hmm.
recordings, which had Luke Rao in it as well as a bunch of other people. Um, but yeah, Taking Strides, man. The amount of times where I nearly passed out on stage from just going so hard, dude. Something about playing melodic hardcore, fucking it hits different.
Dude, I didn't know that Philip Payton was in that band until the other day either. How long was he in the Taking Strides the whole time?
He was not. So Phil didn't really want to play out of town shows or go on tour. He primarily wanted to play around Des Moines, which we were interested in playing out of town. Primarily Taking Strides was much bigger in Omaha than ever was in Des Moines. And so that's primarily where we played there. Like Austin Goff, shout out Austin. Um, would always put us on the fucking sickest shows, like opening up for No Bragging Rights, opening up for It Prevails, opening up. fuck, we opened up for the Contortionists when they were on tour for Exoplanet. Um, dude, I had never heard the Contortionists going into that show, and then they played that fucking album live, and I think I literally cried in the audience.
Was that in Omaha when you guys played with them?
Yep, yep.
Because I remember one of the first times I ever saw the Curse of Hail was when they played with the Contortionist on. I think it was on that run too, if I'm remembering it right. But they at least played with the Contortionist, and yeah. So
Huh. Yeah, that was before I joined.
yeah,
But yeah, and another band that we played with all the time, band that we played with the most, the band Superior, which I'm sure you are
you.
well aware of.
I wanted to say you guys played like how many of their final shows?
We only played one of Superior's final shows.
Shout out Superior, not
um,
talking shit. Love you guys.
yeah, no, dude. To this day, that EP of theirs,
The abandonment.
yep,
Yep.
that EP shaped a lot of my writing style. So here's the thing I've realized. I have never learned a single song from beginning to end that isn't of a band I've been in. I don't know, I just haven't. Except for I fucking aside from a Creed cover, every song I have ever learned has been from a band that I've been in, and after Taking Strides departed, I nearly joined Superior. I think originally on bass, and then nearly joined them playing guitar. And that was my first time ever being introduced to playing gent, which definitely shaped my writing style significantly. I owe quite a lot to Matt McMillan's, just the guitar playing in general, and man, I I would love to see that band again just one more time. It's never going to happen, but they were.
Randy, let's get it going, bro.
It ain't gonna happen. They were Taking Strides' closest friends as a band.
Very cool. Yeah, dude, they were something else. It was really cool to see Nick Kelly end up playing bass for them for a little while too.
Forgot about Nick during his band whore days.
Yep,
Just
yep.
fucking playing for everybody.
So we'll make that our segue into the next portion. So, how did you end up in Pressing Forward? I know that we've known those dudes for a really long time.
I've been in too many goddamn bands. But Pressing Forward, they were the first band I ever messed around with recording. I gotta be honest, I can't even, I don't even remember how I got involved with recording them. Somehow throughout the process, I ended up playing bass with them and going on tour with them.
The G
Oh,
Spot tour.
Yep. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Yeah. The video of that tour, all videos from that tour should be scrubbed from the internet. But yeah, played a couple shows with them, and then I think they broke up for whatever reason. Um, and they got to know everybody in that band really well, and still friends with all them, obviously.
So when you joined, was Blowbomb still doing vocals, or did you guys have Josh doing vocals at that point?
Josh was doing vocals.
I mean, I love that band in general. All that music was really cool, but it's really cool to me how it kind of was like the seed that was going to be built for Terraform later on in some aspects. It's really cool between Josh and Nick.
Yeah, so that's how Josh and Nick met. And the rest of the seeds for Terraform, I think, was from Nick
The
when he was on
Opportunist.
tour with the Opportunists. Yeah, and that's when he met Jake and Chris when they were in Wisconsin.
Mike Schuler.
I don't know how they met. How they met Wiz and Mike.
Wiz and Mike.
I still need to get tattooed by that guy.
Hope he's doing good.
Oh yeah. Love that dude. Yeah. Then there's Josh Solvit. Fucking that dude is a goddamn powerhouse. He has refused to stop going up in his musical career. Is he playing guitar for? I think he's playing guitar for Reflections now.
Yeah, and I think he's also with Our Common Collapse also. Yep.
Yeah.
The first time I ever met him or knew who he was relatively new, and he was that kid that was walking around vaudeville music screaming at the top of his lungs. He's just such a powerful vocalist, and nothing was going on. He was just doing vocals, and it was like, who the fuck is that guy? And yeah, dude, he's a
Yeah.
beast.
Yeah, Josh, I think he was originally playing bass when I met him, and Blowbomb was on vocals, and then I heard Josh on vocals. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! And then I saw him play guitar. I'm like, what? And immediately got intimidated because I'm like, wait, I thought I was the only one who did all those things. Can you play drums? Ah, got you there.
Okay, yeah. Back of the line, bud.
Yeah.
I'm leading the pack.
Well, shit, dude, that's cool. I mean, I know you guys didn't play too long. What was your next move after that? How long did it take you before gearing up for the Curse of Hail?
So after pressing forward, I ended up playing some shows. For the most part, that was during when I was just doing my own solo stuff and recording bands. That's when I recorded an Empire Falls and met you. Recorded They Will Repent, their first EP, and various other bands. From 2010 to 2012, I worked with Tim, the vocalist of Absolute Power. I don't know if you've ever met Tim, but that's pretty
I
damn
have.
accurate.
It's like miniature Hulk Hogan. That's what I always
Fuck yeah,
think in my
dude.
head. Always.
Most metal dude I've ever met in my life.
Really?
But
Right?
yeah, I worked with Tim, and then I started messing around with recordings, and I'm like, yeah, I'd be more than happy to record you, and ended up doing Absolute Power's first EP, and at some point they were out of it. There's been so many fucking members that have played for that band. Half of Des Moines has played for Absolute Power, and they're like, uh, Tim hit me up because who knew the music well better than me, who also played drums. So ended up playing some shows with them. I played like 5, 6, and then ended up parting ways, and um, ended up. So I was actually one of the Curse of Hail's biggest fans, like before joining the band. Like back during the days when we'll always joke about back when the Curse of Hail was Vaudeville Muse's house band, because they were put on every fucking show during
Yeah. Yeah.
the early Sumerian days, which was one of the golden times for heavy music in my opinion. Um, and they were just put on every show, and I just kept seeing them over and over again. Then afterwards, I'd go back, I'd be like, "Fucking god damn, dude, you guys killing!" Then I'd just like start talking gear with Josh, and if you ever want to be friends with Josh Adamson, all you have to do is talk gear. And then the Summer Slaughter or Sound the Slaughter, there's this big metal festival that I think Josh mentioned in their episode, where him and me like really hit it off and talked for a while, and I think we were both just drunk as shit. And every time I ran into him, like we would toss around the idea of like me playing for the band. Actually, originally semi I didn't full audition to play drums for the band because Adam had moved away to go to college, but he just moved to Ames. Like you can still fucking play in a band from Des Moines if you live in Ames. Hell, my fiance drives there every day for school. Totally lost a train of thought. Oh yeah, yeah. So me and Josh kept running into each other and being like, "I should play for you," and then there was one party at somebody's apartments where I just fucking ran into him, and then once again, it's like I should play bass for you. And it's like you fucking should.
Dude, was that the ugly Christmas sweater party?
Yeah, yeah, you were there
Dude,
too.
it was my party. Dude, I brought Ben into the Curse of Hail. Oh, fuck yeah.
Arguably, you did. It may have happened eventually, but I'm going to give you some credit.
You just helped them push it over the edge.
Yeah,
I,
and yeah, I remember like it was at that party where I was like, okay, Josh, we keep talking about doing this. Let's actually set like this Sunday. Let's fucking do it. Then Sunday rolls around. We're both talking. We're like, so I made up, sure, and ended up meeting up. And I think the first song I learned was the Disconnect. I just asked him, I'm like, what's the hardest song you have? I'll just learn that one first. And learned it pretty quickly. And the fucking rest is history. Um, yeah. Now I've been in the Curse of Hail for 11 years now. It was 2014 when I joined.
crazy, dude. It doesn't feel like it's been that
Yeah, dude. You've been fucking old, man.
long.
I fucked up my hip recently by stretching, dude. That's all I did, man. It sucks. We're getting old as fuck.
We were talking about your solo stuff. It's not really a question. It was just more funny, but like I listened to it a few times. But how much Within the Ruins did you listen to back then? Because like it's so apparent. It's so apparent and it's so awesome. Like I love that earlier, like Within the Ruins. And so like when I hear like first, I don't even remember which song I heard it on like right away, and I was like, oh my god, like it's like those cool riffs, like how they always play. And I was like, this is so awesome, and I was hooked from then. Like
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
fucking.
Yeah, I love shit like that.
Yep, yep.
Uh-huh.
Dude,
Anything weird like that, I'm in. Like it's cool.
dude, like senior year of high school, their first album, that was like the only thing I listened to. I
Everything I had that I wanted to ask, Ben covered. So like I just felt like I sat here and I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
yeah. After a certain point throughout this episode, I looked down at the timer. I'm like, oh fuck, I've been talking for 53 minutes straight without anyone saying shit.
We
No,
fucking loved
still.
it,
Oh
dude.
man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll I'll just start my own podcast where I just talk to a fucking computer. Maybe then my computer will be able to handle it.
Maybe. Maybe it'll
Right.
get jealous and it'll fix itself real quick.
But yeah, but backtracking slightly, I feel like I didn't hang out on me joining the Curse of Hail as long as I should have. There, it's like, then Curse of Hail's the end of my music journey. Now, like, there's a reason why I've been in this band for 10 years now. So like the, the Curse of Hail, literally when I went to join them, I like got frustrated and I told myself like, fuck it, I'm just gonna join the best band in Des Moines. That's literally what I said. And like
You did it.
once again, I thought that all of them were like music theory nuts and like knew all this shit and were just like fucking like went to college for it. And then I'm like, these are just a bunch of bros that like to drink beer and watch football
Yep.
and are really good at guitar. and and another thing that is very special about the Curse of Hail is that they are some of my favorite people in the world. Anyone who's ever spent any time around the members of the Curse of Hail, they are just the mo. They are the homies. I love every member of them so much. I could go on for hours about every single member. It's fucking just the best dude ever. Ken's the fucking best dude ever. Josh's the best dude ever. They're all incredibly talented at their instruments. And over the years, I've seen them just get progressively better and better and better. And Josh writes all the material and then brings in. We all bring our own flair to it. Ken's vocals have progressively dude. Ken's my favorite vocalist to record. The amount of times where I'm like he does something singing, I'm like, is that in the same key? And then I check. I'm like, yeah, nope, 100% fucking spot on. I'm hearing shit. Um, yeah, just natural sense of timing with all of it. Did have to drill into Josh the value of it's okay to play to a metronome
Yeah,
because
yeah.
to this day I think he still fucking hates playing to a metronome.
I remember that video you guys posted years ago when you did all those takes to get that solo perfectly. And to the
Josh's
yeah.
bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. he was having a bad time with it that day.
Yeah, dude, they're
Yeah,
all love the dudes. They are straight up the homies, and I'm glad that you found a good home because you just continue to grow with them. And again, like I was saying on the episode that we had with them, you guys are still just fucking killing it. That Recluse song, it's so good. It hits so hard. I
Yeah.
love the drums. Yeah.
you know, that one nearly ended up on the cutting room floor because it was kind of a weird fit until everything came together. But goddamn, am I glad. The one thing they had throughout the whole writing process was like, dude, that breakdown's gonna fucking kill once we get it. The Curse of Hail, we had to like force ourselves to like play simpler because like we're trying to overcomplicate the breakdown. It's like, no, we don't always have to be running like full speed. Um, so it was a nice little lesson. It was fun, but yeah, no, that one came out really well.
Anything you can give us about what's coming next for the Curse of Hail?
Nah, I'm we'll probably have some new music out. We've got some things cooking. Nothing that I can say 100% at this time.
Cool. Well, no, we're excited to hear more as always, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, any final thoughts, Ben? The floor is yours, my friend. Anything you want to shout out or whatever you got for us, my man?
I don't know. Just follow me on Snapchat if you like to see dogs. That's really all I do, man. I fix furnaces and I play with dogs.
Well, Ben, it's been great having you, my friend. We're out of here, guys. It's been just noise. Peace.